Greetings everyone. Today's episode of Tape Talks is strictly going to be about just my opinion on how the server merger for Deadlocks is turning out. So before I go into my opinion about how the merger actually is going, I am to start off everything, just talk about what the server was like when I first started playing Minecraft. And when I first started, it was just nothing more but a simple lobby with a little VIP area the VIPs could fly to. Had survival games, paintball, spleef, and epic jump map. Unfortunately, during the summer when I was offline back in 2013, server got griefed, and I'm not going to go into details about that for obvious reasons, but come back, not much has changed. We still had survival games. Spleef wasn't quite working. Paintball wasn't quite working either. But we had survival games, and there was some new parkour and various things placed around the server. We had some secret Easter eggs we could find, and it was, from what I can remember, a nice place. And then the server was upgraded to the big MC Pro hosting thing with added creative factions. PvP became a lot like Skyda's Minecraft servers used to be before he changed his. It was pretty nice. I liked it. I loved creative. Survival games was still there. It was a lot of fun. There was factions, which I didn't bother doing and playing. I tried Skyblock, failed miserably. There wasn't any parkour, sadly. They eventually put some parkour hidden around spawn and everything, but they never did add any good parkour. Regular survival I tried, but there were a bunch of hackers in there who kept following me, chasing me, and kept raiding me, and that was not fun. What else? PvE, I don't know what PvE was, but it was something for ranked players only. And ranked players they loved having pig pets, they loved having colored names. In creative, they loved their perks and everything. So I think, in my honest opinion, Deadlock's a server when MC Pro Hosting was doing it for the few weeks where everything was running perfectly or near perfect. You're gonna go asleep on me. Was probably the peak of Deadlock's server. It was great. A lot of players were playing. Creative was the main area, and I loved it. Unfortunately, when Deadlocks decided to merge with Mind Frenzy, that pretty much, I'm just going to say, in my honest opinion, the bubble kind of burst. And I think what mainly started it, what started it was when something to do with Node 3 or something, knocked out just about everything and wiped creative. So something about Node 3, then from there on out the server just slowly started degrading. Then Deadlocks merged with Mind Frenzy, and for the most part, there are good things, there are bad things. We still had creative, which was the good thing. We had a special PvP section, which was the original Mind Frenzy. You've gotten prison, and supposedly survival games is coming, but I don't see that coming anytime soon. Or at least as far as I know, it's not up. There was also Sky Wars added. However, the prison, I play that most of the time, and I also am jumping on creative here and there. But at the same time, it's also been sort of a letdown since the server merger, because a bunch of my Minecraft friends left the server. They very rarely, if they even come on anymore, do. If they're excuse me. The few players that are on, some of them play constantly, some of them seldom play at all anymore. Like and some of them are even now starting to, that were playing often when the server first merged, are now starting to leave. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some good players on Prison. I haven't ventured into the PvP section, and I ain't going to. But anyway, there are some issues that on the server, in my opinion, haydz has not done anything about. And honestly, I would love to give quite an earful to him, but I'm actually going to try to restrain myself from doing so, because I want to make this Tape Talks quick. But long story short, the biggest problem, he posted rules on the server forum. First rule, no scamming allowed. So what do people do in prison? Scam like there's no tomorrow. I fell victim to some scams because I didn't know better, grew smart. Some scams I tested out. One scam I actually knew better than to do, but my mouse got stuck and I lost 6 million today because of that. So I started a scam report section in the prison server to report scammers. And what do the admins do? Nothing. You don't bust scams, they don't mute the players, they don't do anything. I don't know what they do on the original Mind Frenzy area. I have no idea. The other thing, when Deadlock's merged, he basically de-opt all of his staff except for one player. I'm not going to mention her name. That I'm not too happy about. And I want one player, and I'm going to say his name because he has a YouTube channel, Pop Roto. He needs to be admin. Make him admin of prison. And he can go after the scammers and other cheaters and hackers and all that crap that needs to be settled with. But the biggest thing I don't like, and I'm really mad at haydz, he doesn't sync the ranks. Deadlock's the server before he merged. No matter where you went, you always had your rank. VIP, Premium, or God. Those ranks carried over, at least from what we know, and we still have them in Creative, and we have them in the Mind Frenzy PvP area. But do the ranks sync over to Prison? No. Do the ranks sync over to Skywars? No. Are they going to sync over to survival games? Probably not. And what does haydz do? He doesn't do anything to sync them. And that is just irritating. He expects us to pay, well, since now you got Skywars running, 4 times to get ranks. Once for Creative, once for PvP, once for Prison, once for Skywars. Excuse me, we're not made of money. Some of us might be able to buy it twice, but most of us can't afford to buy ranks 3 times, or 4. Like, I can't even buy VIP, I'm that broke. Either way, I ain't happy.